Hi YouTube. So this is a graphic novel I've been doing. So this video is just going to kind of show my steps to laying out the format and colorizing it, and just kind of talking about the process in general. I do want to do another video. I'll probably end up doing a bunch of videos using this project I'm doing, but this one is just basically how I put the page together, and just kind of explaining a little bit about the project. So right here I have, I believe it's page 3. It's going to be 7 pages. It's just kind of a demo. It's just kind of to show what it is. It's called The Immeasurable. But I won't bother explaining a lot about that. This is more about how I put the concept together, how I dealt with the layout, and if I don't know if you've ever had an experience doing any graphic novels, but I haven't before. This is just kind of to see if I could get a real good product out of some of my drawing, and it's also great practice because it really does touch on every single aspect of design, layout, composition. You have to keep all that stuff in mind. So I'm kind of a novice at that process, but this is how I did it. I started off with a black and white like you're seeing here, and this was hard enough. This took me a long time just to lay out the pictures, figuring out which pictures I needed and where I needed them to be, how big they should be. Just laying them out on a page is tough enough. So if you're going to do this, I would recommend to start there. Just start by doing little thumbnail drawings, just to kind of acclimate yourself to that, because I did a lot of little thumbnails, or I do one page and I just kind of scribble in the basic design, the basic little shapes in there, just to give me an idea how the page is going to look. Make sure I get all the panels I need, and then you can kind of copy and paste them into your project, which is what I ended up doing. If you have any specific pictures in mind, you may have a concept or a specific frame in mind that you want to have in there. You can certainly start with that and work your way backwards. What I did was kind of just figuring out what frames I could fit on a page, and then I left myself flexible as I could to kind of remove some of these pictures if I needed to. But this is what I ended up with, and some of these are still pretty rough, but what I did next, and this is the process I would do too. All I would do is come up with a black and white like this. I like to have kind of a gray background just so I'm not staring at all that white, because the brightness of the computer monitor just gets to me after a while. So it's good to have a medium tone anyway for a lot of reasons, but I just start with a gray background and work my way from there. I put the black or the ink layer kind of on its own layer at first. I don't know if I have the here. No, I already merged them, but that's what I did, and then I didn't really have to worry about it. I could copy and paste, and I wouldn't bring up the background. All I would do after that point is just copy it. So let me see, I'll just use the shortcut Control Copy. Oh, I don't have the right layer selected. Sorry about that. Control Copy. And then if you go up here to File, and you can go to New, and just from Clipboard. Just click from Clipboard, and it'll bring that up. And then just copy Control V. And now you have exactly that panel. And then I would go from there. And that was basically what my process on the second pass. Now there is the lettering to go back and do at some point. I'm hoping that will kind of fall into place on its own. But right now all I'm trying to do is colorizing and further developing these panels individually. So I'm hoping, like I said, the lettering and everything, I'll figure out how to put that in last, but it was just kind of overwhelming for me, so I wanted to do it step by step, so I wouldn't get too overwhelmed with the process. So you may have a better system for that, you may not. I don't know, but I'm hoping it'll kind of work itself out. I'll tackle that hurdle when I get there. So let me just show you some of the panels I have developed already here. So I have them laid out here, a lot of these frames. This is that awesome looking gruesome corpse that is on the page. That's kind of the highlight of the page. I think it's definitely a focal point, and this is meant to be kind of the thing that draws you into the composition as a whole here. But I'm not sure what happened there. I definitely don't want that to happen again. Okay, so what I was trying to do is copy this. I have too many layers here. So I want to merge all those layers once I'm done. Okay, now it should work. There we go. So this is my process, and as you can see, it's way higher res than it needs to be, really. But I like that because I want to be able to use these pictures for other things. Also, it's better to have it too big than not big enough. If it's not big enough, you're just gonna have a lot of problems. It's really hard to go backwards from there. So I love having as many pixels in there as possible. So as you can see, I just kind of put it in there, and it is pretty. I'm pretty happy with how it came out here. And I can do a demo on something like this later on to show you my process for doing that. That's not what this video is about. This is just about how I laid it out, and I'm gonna try to keep it short, but I could talk about some of this stuff all day, just because I put a ton of work into it so far, and I have a lot of stuff still left to do. But yeah, this image right here is kind of what pulls you in, so I want to make sure I gave that plenty of detail. And it's just about in the right spot. So let me just continue. I'm going to do the same thing, just kind of go through these panels and try to paste them into place. And a lot of these panels, I found that they were kind of tedious. They're not all fun panels, which makes it harder. You want to do all these real nice fun panels, and sometimes you just have to draw like a boot or something like that, something that's just important to the story, and it may not have any other value really, other than just to kind of show what happens next. And you don't want to get sloppy on that. My goal here was to make it as vibrant and as full as I possibly could, because I don't really want to make a generic graphic novel. What I want to do is try to make something as original as possible, something that doesn't follow the same formulas. Some of those formulas are there for a reason, and I'll touch on that in another video, but I just don't want to get stuck in a formulaic type layout formula. So I want to be able to kind of do these really nice things, these nice new fresh looking ideas using my own style. So I don't want to really do too much with the old style or anime or anything like that. I hate anime, and I hate the anime style. No offense, but I wanted to try to give it my style as best I could. So I wanted to start with as little influence as possible, because I want to make a nice quality product here. Let me see here. So there's two panels I put in. What is going on there? Okay, so again, I'm just merging. And I would not save the files this way. What I'd do is merge down to one layer and copy and paste it into the project, and then I would go back and I just wouldn't save any of my changes, and then I still have all those layers to fall back on if I need to. I'm not really affecting the final product. And I have noticed here that I did reformat some of these pages, so the black and white isn't really lining up with the pictures I have. That's just for the sake of example. I've already done this. I just couldn't find the file, and I figured I'd show you from scratch, but that's why they're not quite matching up. But it's okay. It's just for the sake of kind of explaining how I did this. And as you can see, I do have the freedom now to go in here and adjust which one lays on top of which one. So as you can see, there's two corners cutting into this one, and I can kind of flip them around and see which way I like better. So it does give me a little freedom to do this as well. Let me see. So yeah, I'm not sure if I like that better. This is such a big picture that I don't mind the corners so much. I'd rather see a little more of that, but I'll get more picky with that later on. And some of these pictures, like this one, I didn't fully colorize. I just started that because I knew what colors I wanted for the character there. So I went ahead and put them in, but I didn't resolve this log that you have here. And I'm not good at talking and doing this at the same time, so I keep forgetting to merge down these layers. Okay, that's looking pretty cool. It's a little too long, so I'll stretch it out. I don't like stretching pictures like this. Usually I hold down the shift key, make sure I get the right proportions, but for the sake of putting the layout in its proper form, I want to go ahead and do that. Yeah, and that's about it. I won't do all of them, but I just wanted to briefly show you how I would do that process, because it's tough, and I'll do some more videos on the process as I develop it, but I'm still trying to work out some of the kinks with this. The hardest thing was just to come up with the page layout itself. So you want to try to do that kind of like these pictures down here. You don't want to put too much detail into them. You just want to basically lay out what's going to happen next. You can keep it fairly simple, and then you go back with the color layer and develop those panels to a point that you're happy with. That's what worked for me. As you can see my results. You either like them or you don't. I personally am pretty happy with them. A lot of this detail is lost because of the format, because I mean, look at that arm. It's nice, high detail, but in the final product, I mean, it's going to be magazine size. You know, it's not going to be a huge format, so a lot of that is lost. But it's great to kind of work your way down, because you want to have all this this detail in there if you need it, or if you can use it for something else. One thing that's really useful is at some point I can take some of these things and copy and paste them. Like right off the bat, I can tell here this corpse. Instead of drawing it twice here, because it is a digital format, I don't have to draw it twice necessarily. I could do a nice rendition of it here and copy and paste it here, because it's a corpse. It's not going anywhere. This guy is not going to move much, and then I can adjust it here if I want to, if I need to add anything. But why do it twice when it's the same exact thing? All it is showing this character and where he is in the environment for this. So yeah, I will show you more of this as I develop it, because it's a project that I'm really happy about. But I just want to kind of explain where I'm at right now. I wasn't really doing any videos when I started this, because that probably would have been too much anyway, because this was kind of an overwhelming project to do. But I do plan on doing some more on this project, especially once it's done. I'll probably do some shameless plugs on that later on. But this is just any artist who might want to try a graphic novel. That would be what I would suggest doing. The steps would be: come up with a black and white version of all your panels, not on a page, just one by one. Do it on a scrap piece of paper or something. Just every single panel you would need for your storyline. And then go back and try to put each one of those panels on a page format. And there are page formats that I found online where it's just kind of a suggested composition kind of thing. Just look them up. They're just templates. A lot of them are real basic, so you can definitely change them, but it's better for me than starting from scratch, because I wouldn't really know sometimes. So sometimes you can intuitively know, and sometimes you just need a little help. So just starting with a template might help you out too. But then all you do is plug all your pictures into pages. So I'll show you here if I can find it. The final product, which you would have once you're done with that process. Here are some of the templates I use. So they're just like cheesy little files that you find, and some of them are nice, some of them are not so nice, depending on your project. But what you're going to end up with is a lot of square files, and then you have to kind of fit them into different shapes. So you don't want to put in a ton of effort before you go ahead and change that, because just the shape of the panel alone might influence what you're actually going to do with that. So just start off real basic, and it will pay off for you in the long run if you do it that way. Let me just see here. I'm gonna try to find the full black and white rendition I did. Here it is. So this is the full layout I have so far, and I put it in one file, so it's real long because it's every single page. I don't want to give too much away about the project itself, but as you can see, excuse me, I went back and this is what the whole thing was based on. I did this photo here, this illustration, and I just to me it kind of opened the world to me, and I had some help from my brothers writing. They wrote most of the script, but it was basically just based on this drawing. I said, here's an illustration I did. I like it, and it really didn't take me very long. It was a pretty quick one, pretty basic, but to me it was just very visually striking, and it just opened up this world to me that I think is new and unique. So I started with that, and just the picture alone kind of explains a lot about the setting and everything. But then I worked my way to, once I got a little bit of a story going, then I kind of worked my way into the panels. So this is all I did, is come up with these, and some of these I put more effort into than others, but this would be the step right after the thumbnails. I don't know what I did with my thumbnails, but I might add them at some point. But this would be the next step, and you can see I was playing around with placing the type in here. I ended up kind of giving up on that, and I figured I'd put it in later, because once you put the type in here, you can't really adjust it. So if, say I want to make this panel slightly bigger, then the type is going to be slightly bigger as well, or it may not fit as nicely into the picture, and there's all kinds of problems it could cause. So I figured I'd just start with the illustrations themselves and make sure they were nice and solid, and then go from there. So as you can see, as I progressed, I did not do that anymore, but I did kind of get carried away with some of these black and white drawings, because you can see it's real basic in these panels, but as I work my way down, this is a little more detailed than I probably would need. But I was just kind of exploring the setting, exploring the world. I'm hoping that the work I put in here is going to pay off by making those panels go a lot faster than this one, because this one took me a while, just because a lot of this is very underdeveloped, and still is, but these are much more developed here. There's a real sense of value in shading and mood, which you just don't get from these panels. So that's why I was just enjoying that, that's basically what I did for the remaining pages. Again, you can save yourself some time. All I did is copy and paste the same image here, because it's just kind of showing a progression. So you can save yourself a little time. There's tricks to save yourself some time. You don't want to do that too much, because you'll get lazy, it'll get obvious, and the whole point of a graphic novel is to be expressive. So what I would do on the next layer here is go back and hopefully make these radically different in some way, even though it's basically the same shot of the same thing. The real change is in this little creature up here that's hanging onto the corpse. So I would go ahead and make sure that it was a little different, and change as much as I could, just to make it more dynamic, because you don't want to just copy and paste, but it can save you a lot of time in certain cases, especially when like here I'm using a corpse, so corpses don't move much, so it's pretty convenient. And again, here for the reflection in the glasses here, I did the same thing. I just copied and pasted, and that's a really good example of something that you really wouldn't have to do a whole lot with. I might put a tint on there or something to kind of show what it is, but there's not a whole lot I have to do with that. That's just copy and paste, which is why digital format is nice, and it's nice not to work in a traditional format where you'd have to ink all this stuff individually, or it would just be a little stiffer. I think this looks pretty good by itself. But that's all I did. I just went through and did the thumbnails, and then I did the overlay here, and this is going to look really good in color because it's all fire. It's all orange and yellow colors against this. It's going to be like a bluish or purple in the background or something like that, something that's really eye-catching. I'm excited to get to this not only because it's towards the end, but because it's also going to be awesome to do. I'm getting past all the kind of boring sketches, like the drawing of the boot and the can and things like that. Some of the earlier ones were real boring. I wouldn't say boring, but they weren't they were a little more challenging than I wanted them to be. Like some of the scenery and stuff, that was a challenge to get that, and it's a lot of repetitive stuff. This page does not look like this anymore, but all I did is copy the same tree and kind of stretch it out just to give myself a sense of what I was going for in that panel. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing these as well. These are also pretty well developed. I wouldn't do a whole lot to some of these. I would kind of make this person look less cartoonish. I'm not really going for a cartoon vibe, but I am going for a stylized vibe. So I think this looks good. That looks okay. I would fix the mask. Right here, he just kind of looks like a triangle. So I would kind of mix that up a little bit. And now this is the big payoff. This is a full page spread here. And this I kept pretty basic here. I just copy and pasted the face here. This is going to be a lot of fun to do, and this would make a good poster, or there's a lot of things I could use this for, because this is going to be a full-on page, and I'm really excited to get to that one. But it's a lot of work I'm going to end up doing. Doing the black and white versions does save me some time, because the composition is at least worked out for the most part. But it's going to be tough. And then this is I believe the final page, yeah. And yeah, it's less exciting once you get past this big panel here. And then this part is kind of the closing of the novel. Yeah, and this definitely needs a little work. This is just, I wanted to show he was on some type of device here, so that's all I'm showing. I just put in something it's kind of a placeholder right now, but I'll make that more sci-fi, because the whole vibe of this is going to be like a Tales from the Crypt sci-fi. That's kind of the concept I was going for. Just horrific, violent, and terrifying space stuff. You know, all the good stuff. Lots of gore, lots of good grotesque stuff. But yeah, that's basically it. So I'm going to stop this video because I feel like I've been talking for a while. But I just wanted to kind of show you some of the stuff I've been working on, and some of the struggles I had with a graphic novel, because it was, I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I didn't realize how hard it could be, especially not knowing the process, like step 1, step 2, step 3, because I didn't find a whole lot of resources that kind of explain that. Like how do you lay out a panel of effectively, and I hope to have some more information on that eventually. So I'm just I kind of tried to do it intuitively, and I tried to be kind of safe about it. Like there's a lot of rectangles in this one. There's a lot of triangles in here, but I didn't really take any big risks in here, because I wanted to kind of worry more about the illustrations themselves. But just the layout can influence it a lot. I've seen a lot of graphic novels where it's just long panels that go across, like the Dark Tower series. I was looking at that the other day, and it's just long panels, like real cinematic type panels, but they're all just kind of flat, long panels, which can be very effective. But you kind of want to pick a format that and kind of stick with it. So that's kind of what I did here. I just found a couple formats that I liked, and I just kind of stuck to variations of those. So this one is probably the most different, but a lot of these are just kind of squares, which is okay. I don't really need that to be too complicated, because I think it works the way it is. But depending on your project, you might have a different idea of what works and what style you're going for. But yeah, that's about it. So I'm going to cut this video off. But if you are working on a project, like this. Good luck to you. I'll try to post some more videos as I make some progress. Yeah, good luck to you. If you're not doing a novel and you're just interested and you're still watching this video at this point, I just want to thank you for spending the time. I hope it was interesting to you. All right, thanks.